4 physicians are currently practicing at the nursing home. Monthly visits are made by each physician to see each of his residents. This gives them the opportunity to do a mini assessment of the resident's physical and emotional condition and also to review their current medications.
In 1914, the Conservative Mennonite Conference founded a children's orphanage, known to be the first social service organization in Garrett County, Maryland. A new brick structure was completed in 1918 and housed a total of 87 children in 1931. In 1938, due to a shift in how the government provided care for orphans, the home was closed. In 1958, the Conservative Mennonite Conference donated the land and building to establish Goodwill Mennonite Home, Inc. as an independent, nonprofit organization providing 26 nursing home beds. Responding to increasing needs, Goodwill has continued to grow throughout the years and today is the largest retirement campus in the region.
Hi, I'm Anthony Lehman, the Chief Executive Officer here at Goodwill Retirement Community, and I am amazed at how God works in our lives, particularly with His love. As we began to work on this video and delve into the history of Goodwill, and as we were talking with the board members and with families and residents and staff, it really became evident that what sets Goodwill apart is something special here that we have. You know, our early fathers envisioned creating a place where God's love could be demonstrated through first meeting a growing need in the community for senior housing. But secondly, and I think more importantly, to create a place where they created an opportunity for God's people to demonstrate their love and how they cared for those people in that community. All this may sound a little familiar because it is. It's actually where our vision and mission statements come from today that we use at Goodwill. Our vision is to care for people through God's love, to care with goodwill through God's love. And our mission is to empower those who need joy and purpose in their lives, guided by God's love. You know, as I think back as to what it would have been like to be one of the early fathers here at Goodwill and to have strived so hard to formulate an organization like they did, and then invest so much of themselves, their own resources, their own time, their own money, and feel like it was just a constant battle to even provide day-to-day needs. And then 2 years down the road, be able to jump back in the picture and see what we're like today. I really think they would be amazed at what we were able to do with the resources they started us out with. And they would be, I think, happy to look around and to be able to see that Goodwill is no longer just caring for 5 or 10 residents, but for hundreds of people here that we provide care for. And I am so grateful for what the vision was of our forefathers to get that all started, and I think they would be very happy today to see where it's gone.
So actually my journey started here at Goodwill when I was in high school. I came here and worked as a feeding assistant. Hello, my name is Courtney Mitchell. I am the assisted living manager and the retirement village manager here at Goodwill Retirement Community. Through high school and also into college. So been here for a couple years then. I also took a CNA class my senior year and did my clinicals here at Goodwill also. Then I did move away from the area for a period of time, came back to Grantsville. So then I had the opportunity to come into Goodwill as the assisted living manager and retirement village manager, and that was about a little over 7 years ago that I've been here at Goodwill. But yeah, I have the opportunity to work with some really great staff. We have a great crew of people here that caregiving is truly in their heart. They're good people. They kind of have the mentality that they have a lot of extra grandparents here. They become close with them and their families, and just it's a good group of people to work with, and they truly can carry out what Goodwill's purpose is, why we're all here, and the staff here are good at carrying that out.
I think one of the most important things that in my life is caring about people and doing things for people. Helping people is so important to me, and serving on this board is one easy way to do that. Maybe it's a cop-out, I don't know, but it's an easy way to be part of something that does so much for people in the community. Hi, my name's Tim Bender. I'm currently a board member here at Goodwill, and I've served on the board 3 or 4 terms, I think. I can't remember how many. Been involved with Goodwill probably since I was a child, and even before I was a child, one of my uncles was adopted when it was a children's home prior to a nursing home. So I have connections there. I have an uncle that's here now currently, and also mother-in-law. They're both here.
I agreed to be a board member, or to be on the slate to be a board member this year, because I really wanted to be a part of what I knew was happening here. Some really good, exciting things were happening here. Hi, my name is Chris Graber, and I am presently on the board at Goodwill, and my mother is also a resident here. And I worked here 30 years ago for a few years, so. I've been a part of corporate America for a long time, and have seen the downside of what that brings to healthcare. I'm also a nurse, and I've seen when it comes down to the bottom line just being money. How do you make more money? It doesn't matter what we cut out of care. We need more money because our shareholders want it. And so I've seen the disappointment of that in the healthcare world that I've been in. So I came in wondering what was I going to find out that I wasn't sure. I wanted to see, but I've been thrilled to see that that's kind of the last thing on the agenda. It's important. You need money to pay the electric bill. You need money to keep things going here. But the most important thing is resident care, and that I could get on board with, and that I could be a part of. And so I think at each board meeting, I'm more excited about that, because I see that resident care is the most important thing. And it's based on truly a biblical perspective of caring for other people and caring for the vulnerable population among us, instead of, well, you can't have that because it costs too much. So I've been thrilled to see that part, but I'm also thrilled to see how important the staff are. That it's not just filling slots, that growing the staff is very important. And that has thrilled me to see that part, to see how much administration not just cares, number one, about the residents, but then about staff as well. That bottom line has to come along at some point, but the focus is very much on the resident, and what do we do to improve that care? Not what's the bottom line state requirement? How many staff do we have to make this function so we don't get in trouble? It's what do we need to do to ensure that we're giving the best care possible for these very, very important people that we have in our care. I've seen that be a priority, and that has kind of it's a fresh breath of air in a corporate world of health these days.
It became very apparent to me that Goodwill, the different nursing homes that I administered in over the years, Goodwill was unique in many ways, and many good ways, I thought. It was more uniquely Christian atmosphere that I enjoyed. It was an encouraging atmosphere to really to work in. My name is Dale Curtis. I'm an ordained minister. first got involved in nursing home ministry probably around Bible college time back in the early 80s and late 70s or early 80s. I'm not sure what the perspective is that many people have when they get involved in nursing home ministry, but for me, I studied evangelism and missions in college, and I was always interested in evangelism primarily, and I always felt that the ministry in a nursing home was a very important ministry, because I was privileged to get to minister to people late in life, when a lot of times there are serious questions about what their destiny is and various things. And I just felt that ministering in a nursing home environment was very uniquely something that I really enjoyed doing.
To be able to serve the elderly, to show compassion, to let them know that they are valued is just like no other. And to see them smile in any given day, in any given moment is a give and take. It makes my day, and I'm sure it's making theirs. Hi, my name is Peggy Nixon, and I am an activity aide here at Goodwill. I mean, I will say on a spiritual note, I know that this place was developed through the prayers and the love and the compassion for the mission of Christ, is to serve the orphans and the widows. And they built this building to do that, and their prayers have been answered today. I'm an answer to that prayer. The administration is an answer to that prayer, and we continue to go forward with that mission. Goodwill has a really good administration that genuinely cares about the residents, it cares about the workers. But yeah, the mission continues.
My history with this place goes back to when I was a baby. After the children's home closed, they rented it out to families. And when my mom and dad first got married, they lived here in the old part. And I was 2.5 when we moved away. I have a few memories of the old kitchen and a few things like that. And my dad used to tell me, said, you started out here as a baby, you'll probably end up back here as a baby, and I'm okay with that. I've told my family, when my time comes, I'm willing to go to Goodwill. I had my mom here. Mom had a stroke, and her stroke was very debilitating. Her left side was completely paralyzed. Her mind was affected somewhat, although she could still be a fun person. And as I was taking care of her at home, her condition was deteriorating, and by then my dad had passed. And one day she said that he told her that if he ever couldn't take care of her, he would put her to Goodwill. And I said, Mom, how do you feel about that? And she said, it would be all right. And so I told my family, while she's in that frame of mind, it's a good time to move. So we did, and she really thrived on being here. She was a person who loved being around people. This was her home community. She grew up right across the hill here. So she saw a lot of people she knew, a lot of community people stopped in, a lot of families stopped in. But she made a lot of new friends here as well. And it was a real comfort to me to know that she had professional nursing care right here. At home, she would get seizures sometimes, and my family and I tried to take care of that, and that was hard. So it was a comfort to me. She thrived here. She lived for 7.5 years after she was here. I have always felt that this was more than a job. And I've been so grateful for all these years that I could earn a living here, but it was also a ministry. It was, I could minister to these people in so many different ways. Not only what my belief about Jesus is, but just to make life a little bit better for them. I came to the point one time with my mother, I was feeling so bad that she was debilitated the way she was, and it was sort of putting me into a depression until I came to the place that I realized I would never make life really good for Mom again, but I can make a lot of things more pleasant. And that's what I can do working here. And I'm a strong believer in Jesus being my Savior and life hereafter in heaven with Him. And I feel like as I get to the end of my life, if my mind doesn't work right anymore, I hope someone will be kind enough to draw my mind back to Jesus and to heaven, and not on my aches and pains and misery that my body is in. And so I feel like working here, that's something I can do for the people here.
I do remember the first administrator that came, the first evening when they came from, I guess, from Illinois. They stayed at my parents' house. We were there. And he remarked about these mountains he had to climb from Uniontown. He couldn't get over that. I more or less got the impression it was similar to the mission for the children's home, of these aged people who needed care and didn't have a place to go. The children weren't able at times to care for them. And I looked through some of my dad's minutes, and in 1944, with his minutes, the suggestion was made to start an old people's home, or start a nursing home. That was 1944. That was the earliest I've seen of that. I know when they had board meetings back at that time, I was a kid at home. Most of the meetings went past midnight. And when they voted to do something, they knew their vote meant money coming out of their own pocket to do it. Where today it's quite different. We use profits that have already been made. But that always impressed me, how they knew that was coming from their own pockets, as well as the congregation as a whole too, you know. But then later, I had several sisters and brothers here, and as I interacted with them, I became more interested in the workings of the organization. And when Kevin asked if I would serve, he said we would need to know by a certain date, and I said I had decided to serve before he asked.
But I am drawn to the nursing home because of the mission that we have here. It goes beyond just the physical things, which is important, that people are cared for physically, taken care of. But it goes beyond that to the emotional side of it, and having them feel a part, that people care about them. I think one of the biggest things is the support that the churches can give to Goodwill, to the employees, whether it's prayer support, monetary support, volunteerism, we do programs here. I did programs here as a kid, and I think that's what draws me back to see, especially if we bring a little kid in with us to a program, their eyes light up and they have such a good time with those kids. I think it's an important thing. And so the more we can get these churches involved, the more we'll see, the more excitement we create for people to come work here and people to volunteer.
It would be good. It would be good experience for them. It would be good for the organization if they did become involved. The younger, the better, actually. Yeah. But when we're young, we don't think of these end times, or not so much.
Hi, my name is Emily Johnson. I am the Director of Social Services and Admission for the nursing home side of things for Goodwill Mennonite Home. I've worked here for 6 years now, going on 7, and I do everything with admissions, the pre-admission aspect of things, and then also all of the social services side of things once somebody is admitted here into the nursing home. We have 108 beds in our skilled nursing facility. And all of our beds are duly certified for Medicare and Medicaid, meaning we can use any bed for any reason in the whole nursing home. We have a 28-bed secured dementia unit for Alzheimer's, anyone wandering, and elopement risk that has been a big benefit to the community. One of the things that I hear the most from family members in the community is how much nursing homes are needed, especially in our area. And I am happy to say that if you need us, we will be here. We are very happy and try very hard to keep the community here as successful as it has been. Like I said, I am involved in all aspects here in the nursing home and help people through the whole process, from the very early stages of admission, the whole entire way through, even helping people with the dying and death process. So I'm involved pretty much the whole entire time. One of the things that I hear the most about Goodwill is, how clean we keep our campus, how neat and orderly everyone is, and how well we're staffed. We can do a lot of things here. We can, do the light level of care, clear up until the heaviest level of care. And we, make sure that all of our staff are very well trained to handle all situations, do a lot of in-services, making sure people are trained in dementia, trained how to most appropriately care for elderly people or people with special needs, anyone that would be needing nursing home care. Goodwill's community is unique in that we have 3 different levels of care. We have our independent living that you can start out in, buy a cottage. Then eventually, if you're needing a little more care, you can move up to our assisted living. And then from our assisted living, as you age in place, you can then be moved to the nursing home. And anyone in our continuing care retirement community has preference for, any area that would be needed. So you can age in place, or if you would have a fall in your home down at the retirement community, you can always be, admitted to the nursing home for rehab. The nursing home has a great rehab program, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. So we can provide, different levels of whatever you would need. And the goal for some people is to go back home, and that's our, we would share that goal with you to, make sure you had the best care that you had here, and then get you back home, set you up with some home health, any equipment that you would need back in your home. And some people choose to stay long term. If you're not able to go back home, families are busy, and oftentimes I think families feel guilt about putting their loved one in a nursing home. And you might always feel guilty about that, but people are busy, you have your own life, and I always tell people you have to care for yourself first before you're ever able to care for a loved one. I'm involved in the entire process here in the nursing home, and part of my job is social services, so I am, hearing families, talking with families. I hear all of the good and all of the bad about Goodwill. I will say that Goodwill does their very best on when we have a complaint. We address it right away. We try to find a solution, for what could be wrong, how we can be better, and then take that as a learning opportunity, do some education house-wide. If we do have a problem, we always do try to solve it with the family's help, with the residents' help. We are all a team here here at Goodwill. So part of, placing a loved one in the nursing home is still being involved in their plan of care, making sure that we are taking the very best care of your loved one, just like you would at home. I can never sit here and promise any family member or resident that Goodwill is perfect, because that isn't truthful. We are not perfect, but we do everything in our power to make sure that it is as close to perfect as we can make it for somebody, and it is as close to feeling like home for a resident and a family that we can make it. We truly want this to be your loved one's home away from home. And we will do our very best to ensure that it is a home-like environment, and that we can have somebody that's happy, thriving, involved, interacting with other people their age, and really make it like a community for them. The most important thing to me in my position is really getting to work with the families during this admission process. It is a very, very hard thing to choose to put your loved one in a nursing home. You are giving up the responsibility of your loved one and placing your loved one in total strangers' hands. Because we don't know them, they don't know us, and it takes a lot of trust and a lot of faith to be able to turn over your loved one essentially and say, here they are, love them as I would love them. And we certainly try our best to do that. A lot of times the families here and residents become a part of our family. Once you're admitted here and you're here, you are part of Goodwill's family. You are, going to get treated as such. We will make sure that we are listening, trying to understand your loved one's needs. But yeah, it's very rewarding in my position to be able to help somebody through this process. Like I said, it's hard. You're gonna feel guilt, you're gonna feel sad, you're gonna have super good days, and you're gonna have bad days. Not every day is a good day, and that's okay. We're here to help you and your loved one get through that process.
Yeah, I've been around the block a little bit, and I have been here for quite a while, and I've enjoyed being able to start out here, recruited right out of college, really, by 2 board members, and then to be able to enjoy starting as an assistant administrator, becoming an administrator, and then eventually becoming the chief executive officer here at Goodwill. But that journey over the last 20-some years has been filled with opportunities to see improvement. When I first started, or even before my time, you would hear stories about how the staff really struggled with even wheeling residents up and down stairs, and then seeing the elevators come to be, and then seeing activities develop, and then seeing where we moved from fans to air conditioning to just being able to improve the whole environment for the lives of our staff and residents. It's been a neat to be a part of that. Sometimes I wish to go back and remind myself of that, because I tend to want to think that, wow, it's really hot today in my office. But really, there was a time when that air conditioning wasn't there. There's a time when supplies weren't so easy to come by on the floor. There were times when there weren't generators to kick on and back us up when the power fails, or there weren't more home-like environments with carpeting that we have now versus the cold towels and steel surfaces that you used to see. And then I think there's a lot that comes into the care side. I really think the care of those early workers is hard to beat. But I do think our workers today also have that same desire and drive within them to provide the best care that they can. We're not perfect, but we're certainly striving to be.